Let us go. So Dniper versus Duck Shark. Now we got done with all the new player guaranteed events, yada yada. You heard the spiel and you're sick of it. I'm sick of it. We're all sick of new players. They suck. They're the worst, right? But then Dniper hits me up and he says, hey man, I told you, and this is true, I confirmed with just scrolling up in the text chat. He said, I told you I didn't really have any good replays from the event. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, Mr. Human Man, please cast one video game that I have played. And I said, okay. Also, this one was close. So during the event, I would give you the spiel about like, I just cast whatever somebody sent me and I can't guarantee it's any good. This one, since it was outside the event, I did take a look at it and it's pretty good. So we're gonna have a fun, good time here with Dniper and Duck Shark. All right, we have Transformation of Kadon and Flock of Doom from Tehenuin on the side of the Lizardmen. Feral Manticore is already out. That is a summon. Double Feral Carnosaur, Feral Cold Ones, Pakapa Cohort, Cold One Spear Riders. Then we have a Saurus and Skink mixed front line, some basic Croc scores at the back. And that is about it. We have a Lizardmen melee rush. For the Tomb Kings, it's not your mom's average Tomb King build. We do have a big kitty cat. It's the ROR kitty cat, but then we have double Tomb Scorpion with a Necrotect to heal them up. Arkin the Black with Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna plus his summons, and then the two ROR shooters, the Chosen of the Gods and the Eyes of the Desert. This is all very expensive, meaning there is no cavalry to defend this, and there is a very limited amount of melee infantry. There's six basic ass skeletons. Gonna be hard to defend all this stuff. Let's see how they do. Now the Feral Manticore is getting destroyed. You might be like, oh no, that's a terrible start for Lizardmen. No, it's not. That's a fake. That is a fraud, a phony. It is a summon, and it was just there to dissuade the Chosen of the Gods from being able to shoot the Saurus on their way in. So the Saurus now have gotten into melee, mostly uncontested. And they're gonna start beating up on some skeletons to get through to the backside. And we do have double Feral Carnosaur, very deadly single entity duelist monsters versus the Tomb Kings. We've been seeing this a lot. A lot of different players have been bringing them in recent months in this specific matchup. Also have a Stegodon, so a lot of single entities for this big cat to hunt down. Meanwhile, the Pakapa Cohort had a terrible time. I'm assuming they got hit with the Fate of Buna. If we look at Arkin the Black, yeah, about 650 value. Probably got it from Fate of Bunaing like half their HP away. Chosen of the Gods and the Sporkle Stalkers still firing at whatever they can. Now the double Feral Carnosaurs are ganging up on the kitty cat. He is more than capable of taking care of himself, but it does make it hard for the Sporkle Stalkers to support, because you can see they get the little red bow and arrow. They can't see what's going on. The Feral Carnosaurs are now rampaging into the infantry fight, but thankfully one of them is attacking the Tomb Scorpion, so still not a bad target. If they rampage and attack like the Saurus, then that, the Tomb King skeletons, and that is a waste of their time. But so far they're still focusing mostly on what they need to be dealing with. On the far side, things are going pretty well for the Lizardmen. Tehenuin and his boys crushing through. That Skeleton Warrior is a summon, so it'll fade away on its own, and then that will be pretty much open season for them to push through. The Tomb King's temporary summon of Ushabti is out, and it's trying to dissuade the Feral Carnosaurs from sticking in the fight. But for now, they're holding firm with a lot of Saurus support at their feet. The Skeleton Spears have been vanquished, and now the Tomb Scorpion is going to follow. This Carnosaur is doing a lot of work, but without a Rev Crystal, second Manticore summon comes in, without a Rev Crystal or anything, this is a very finite health pool the Carnosaurs are dealing with, and they are starting to attrition out. They've only taken half HP off the Sphinx. They did kill a Tomb Scorpion, they rampaged and got distracted, yada, 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 but the point remains, the Necro Sphinx is still very powerful. Pakapa Cohort rallying what's left of their, I guess, cohort to help Tehenuin fight against the heroes, Arkin and the Necrotect. Feral Manticore, the Stegodon, and some Skinks have found their way into the Eyes of the Desert, go down to half HP and falling. Balance power is 50-50. The Lizardmen have a hefty infantry advantage going into late game, but the Tomb Kings have a pretty decent single entity advantage. Necro Sphinx and Tomb Scorpion both still relatively healthy, capable of plenty of damage in this late game, and then their hero and lord are so far okay. Though Tehenuin's also okay. Like, it's not like Tehenuin's super wounded, but yeah. Sporkle Stalker is just getting finished off by the Feral Stegodon, and Tehenuin is riding side by side with Arkin de Black, trying to figure out how to catch up to him, because chasing can still be a little buggy, especially with horse characters involved. I feel like horse characters, whether they're the chasee or the chaser, can sometimes be a little cringe. Tehenowin gives up on trying to catch Arkin because Arkin got back near the Sphinx Usef. That Sphinx is now targeting the Feral Manticore, which fades away before his eyes, and he just kind of stops to an awkward stumble as his quarry literally just disappeared in front of him. A restore is chucked out real quick. Oh, that's a disaster for the Tomb Kings, unfortunately. He got one restore out onto the Sphinx Usef, but the second one dies with the Necrotech, so we need to be a little more aggressive about throwing out those heals. As for Lizardmen, they're still holding on. Tehenowin tries to help take out the Sphinx Usef, but he is not in time to save the Carnosaur that is now dead and being walked over by Saurus. All right, Skeleton Warrior, that's a summon. It's not real. Tomb Scorpion, half HP. Arkin, pretty much full HP. Sphinx Usef, just above half HP. Sporkle Stalker's still almost dead. Necrotech is dead, as we saw. Now, Tehenowin is the one being chased, and Arkin gets to do the little diddly-doo dance, but it looks like he's actually getting attack animations off while they're moving. So, 0.1 for Arkin. That is a metric shit ton of Saurus over there, though. Tehenowin has to find his way back to his Saurus so that this doesn't happen, because Arkin is just getting free hits on him over and over again. But the reason Tehenowin doesn't just turn around and kick his ass is because the Tomb King's single entities are nearby and he can't deal with that. But Arkin is just consistently hitting. Oh my god, I've seen him hit, like, literally 8 shots. Holy shit. He's just killed Tehenowin. He hasn't missed a single shot. He's just constantly hitting him over and over again. Pakopok cohort are now going to dive in and try and bail him out, but man, this was a disaster for Tehenowin. Last Sporkle Stalker's finally dead, so I can stop checking in with them. Oh, those aren't even the Pakopok cohort. They're just feral cold ones. Feral good boys holding Arkin in place long enough to save Tehenowin and then shatter. And there's the final Spirit Leech from Arkin. It looks like it might kill Tehenowin, and he's just going to let the Spirit Leech do its work. But Tehenowin rallies, only to rout again. He's already at negative 34 leadership. Damn, so that's unfortunate. He just loses one of his routes. Negative 35 leadership still, 191 HP after the Spirit Leech. We'll see if he rallies. Tehenowin is, like, weird, because he's a skink, so you think his leadership would be low, but then he's, like, a prophet, so his leadership's higher. I don't really know if he's going to rally or not. If it's an Elf Lord, then probably. Tehenowin? I don't know. Carnosaur came back while I was focusing on the Tehenowin drama. So the second Carnosaur is still in the fight after all. I was wondering if he got routed off the map or something. Does not seem to be the case. Helps to kill off the Tomb Scorpion. And now the battle becomes very simple. Arkin, Necrosphinx. That's it. Arkin has summons left. 3 summons left. And who knows how much Winds of Magic. He's going to burn one of his Spirit Leeches remaining on the Feral Carnosaur. Pretty good target. Spirit Leech is better versus single entities. Charges into the Necrosphinx, gets 1 charge attack off. Does he get a second one before routing? He does headbutt it and gets a little bit of damage before routing. 88 HP. He is dead and gone, but that was a heroic final performance from the Carnosaur. And now the Saurus are just flocking onto the Sphinx Usef, who's down to 3,800 HP. The Stegodon is fighting back, but the Sphinx has targeted the Stegodon. This is exactly who he wants to fight. He is going to get some stabbing in. Did Tehenowin go off the field? No. Tehenowin is rallied. 191 HP, 14 leadership. He is off in the woods. He is safe and sound, giving the Lizardmen the leadership they need to stay in this game. Proxcore is terror routing. The Stegodon is naturally routing, but the Saurus are hardier stock, and one of them is still full HP. Arkin is going to chase the Stegodon and start hitting it in the booty. And Tehenowin probably has to get into the trees so he's actually stalked. His opponent might not realize Tehenowin is alive if he stalked him. Looks like he's now running and moving. Arkin killed the Stegodon, gets movement orders to go find Tehenowin. Yeah, he noticed him. He's going to go over there. Overcast Spirit Leech takes a little bit of overcast damage, but finishes off Tehenowin and immediately causes a Saurus to terror out. Looks like a skink might be close behind. There they go. That skeleton summon is fake. Remember, it has about 32 seconds of life left as another Saurus terror outs. There's only 1 Saurus left standing. His leadership is 26, but he doesn't have to get to 0 to lose the game. He has to get down to, I think, about 8 is where he'll terror out, unless these other guys actually rally. But it's just if everybody is terror routing, it counts as routing. Bounce power is terrible for the Lizardmen, though I am not so sure. If that skeleton summon wasn't here, the Sphinx would be taking a lot more damage. Now the Saurus are starting to rally. Arkin is stuck in melee. 1, just trying to help out, and 2, he is trying to power up his Tomb Blade of Arkin to get more skeleton summons when he needs them. There goes that skeleton summon. They are gone. It's back to just an anti-large armor-piercing duelist monster versus a shit ton of Saurus warriors who are bapping away at its ankles, but eventually those ankles are going to break as we've watched 200 HP get chunked off of this thing just while we've been spectating it. Other skinks and Saurus starting to gather, and they might want to rest. I don't know if you want to blob everybody up at the same time. They want to rest and get their vigor back. Also, just to prevent everybody routing at the same time, causing you to lose the game. Sphinx is down to 2,300 HP. Out comes a Spirit Leech from Arkin, which means he's not saving up for a Fate of Buna or anything like that. He's a little low on Winds of Magic as the Saurus get very low, but they're immune to Terror for just a little bit. I don't remember which one didn't tear out. I'm guessing the healthier one didn't tear out. So that one actually did fight to natural routing. Arkin is still in here, Staff and Nagash, reducing his cooldowns, which is important, meaning he's going to get a Skeleton Summon probably soon-ish. And it's still a tall task for the Saurus. They got the Sphinx under 2,000 HP, but they're really struggling to get more damage on it now. Arkin's also at 2,000, and they're just not getting as much damage out as they're going to need to. Skinks and Saurus are coming back after resting briefly. I saw Saurus just get chopped in half mid-air. Sphinx down to 800 HP. I'm just waiting for a summon to come in. There's a Spirit Leech out onto the Saurus that so far have not Terror routed, which means they will Terror rout soon. Skeleton Summon behind them is enough to get them to retreat, though they were taking a chunk out of Arkin. Arkin and the Sphinx both around 1,800 HP, but that's looking like GG as the Skinks are going to Terror out on contact. Now this one Saurus has to hold versus the Skeleton Summon and Arkin and the Sphinx until the Skeleton Summon wears out. That's probably unlikely, especially now that the Sphinx is behind them. They're going to have the whole flanked debuff. Yeah. GG. They rout. It was good. It was close. Both Carnosaurs got exactly 22 kills. Don't really know how that coincidentally happened, but sure. Pakapa cohort actually got a lot of value considering how early on they got chunked. Saurus Warriors did their jobs. They were a solid front line for Tehenuin to rely on. If Tehenuin hadn't gotten that separated out, maybe this game could have gone differently. But just how much damage he took from Arkin chasing him all the way around the map was really brutal. Sphinx did great. Man, Arkin landing all those attacks in a row was nasty. And don't do the thing. All right, don't go in the comments and be like, it's actually not that crazy for Arkin to hit all these things in a row because he's getting a constant charge bonus and your opponent has his back to him, so half their melee defense is gone. So really, it's like an 80% chance to hit every shot or whatever. In the world of unit jank in Warhammer 3, chasing another unit of relatively similar speed and managing to get multiple hits off in a row without ever walking beside them, stutter stepping so you stop and they keep running, or just failing to attack and like walking alongside them, just being in the right spot and being able to get consistent hits out every time is more of what I'm flabbergasted by, not by the statistics of like, what are the odds you roll an 85% chance success 8 times in a row? It's like, that's probably a little unlikely, but not incredibly unlikely. I'm just saying the units working together in a way that actually was cohesive and made sense was a little shocking. All right, GG. Roar. Subscribe, yes.